seconds. All right, guys, it looks like we are live. Got my man Shaker over there as well, bringing you in. We'll do some quick microphone tests right here. 1, 2, 3. You got me, okay? I think I have you as well.
Hopefully you can hear me.
Perfect. I hear you loud and clear. Okay.
You can't hear the testing in the background, right? Just want to make sure that because I just put it on.
No, I don't think I can actually. I think it's good.
Great.
Okay, so that's good. All right. Well, it looks like we got all systems a go then here for the stream. So we'll give it maybe another 10 or 15 seconds or so just to have people come into the stream a little bit before we do all of our welcome and intro spiels and everything like that. But yeah, we're pretty much all set to go with the stream today. It is just past 9 a.m. Eastern Time in Ottawa, Canada, and just past 3 p.m. here, local time in Serbia. So broadcasting to some different parts of the world, but we're all here and we're all ready to go. So Shaker, how you doing, man? Bringing you in for the first time this weekend on these streams. What's going on?
I'm good, man. I'm just stoked for F1 testing. Yeah, I didn't get to watch yesterday. I was just telling you, I'm recovering from overnight, so I slept all day yesterday, but I'm so happy to see cars on the track. Gets me so excited. Gets me going.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, it's been a long off season, and I always love testing. Actually, I think we talked about that on a podcast. I said this too, that it's actually my favorite time of the year with the preseason and launch season and everything. I don't know. It's just everything's fresh. The energy is good, and I really love to watch endless hours of F1 cars running around the track.
No, I totally agree, and it's just the testing's feeling kind of nice because there's no real competition between the players yet or the drivers yet, it's just they're just driving their car around, just trying to have fun and see what the limits of their car are. So I think that's what's really interesting about it. There's there's competition, but it's not really going to start within 2 or 3 weeks until that first race hits.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I was thinking of that I kind of like that. As much as I do enjoy watching the races and everything like that, the fact that there is nothing on the line and it's just kind of watching racing cars going round in circles is what makes it enjoyable. If maybe that sounds strange to some people, but I kind of like that the most. So yeah, it's fun to watch, and there's certainly a lot because I mean it's almost 8 hours of running per day that we can kind of watch and talk about and things like that. So yeah, it's good. I'm really stoked to be back as well. Obviously not just doing content for the channel, but just as a fan to have F1 back.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and yeah, it's been really nice, and also I'm just really excited because Manchester United just really beat Barcelona yesterday. So for sports, it's just been going great, guys.
So you're in a good mood. Yeah, we caught you at a good time.
That was it was a fantastic game. If anybody watched it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't catch that last night, but I'll have to watch the highlights today. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the sporting world, but yeah, a lot going on right now on track in Bahrain. We've, of course, had the morning session that just took place a few hours ago, and we are now about an hour, a little bit more into the PM session of day 2. And what we'll do actually is we'll just quickly touch on the AM session if you guys weren't with us. Of course, we do have, Shaker, yourself included, viewers from the Eastern time zone in the Americas who obviously probably weren't up at 4 a.m. in the morning to watch testing, or who knows, maybe some of you were if you are that dedicated fans. But in the middle of your screen there, you can just kind of see the leaderboard from the AM session there. You had Carlos Sainz, who was quickest in the morning, followed by Logan Sargent of Williams in P2, Fernando Alonso, another strong outing in third place, Zhou Guanyu in fourth, Kevin Magnussen in fifth, Esteban Ocon in sixth, Sergio Perez seventh, Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes finishing eighth in the morning session, followed by Lando Norris, and rounding out the top 10, Yuki Tsunoda. And some of the high lap counts did actually belong to Yuki Tsunoda, completed 85 laps. Carlos Sainz, for example, had 70 laps. Logan Sargent, 74 laps as well. And we saw Sergio Perez, his debut in the RB19, 76 laps as well. So a pretty busy morning session, a lot of long runs that were going on, and a lot of teams just trialing different run plans. Nothing too eventful that happened in the morning session. It's kind of been a theme so far of the first 2 days of testing where we're seeing really smooth running and not many issues from these teams, which I think is always good.
Yeah, it really shows that the cars are, hopefully made to last this year compared to the. I mean, last year was the first year of running the new regulations and stuff, so I guess they kind of have to work out the kinks. But it's kind of nice to see them go back and fix a lot of their issues that they did face, and see the cars lasting a little bit longer on the track.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just posting a message here in the chat. I forgot to mention that off the top of the show, guys. Of course, the live chat is open, and let us drop us any chats that you have, any comments or any questions. Oh, that is. I just realized I posted it from the wrong account on my YouTube.
Okay, I'm actually paying attention. It's like right in the corner of my screen, so I'll also see the messages come through if you're like busy.
Yeah, no, it should be not bad. I did it on my phone yesterday just to because the stream was kind of not lagging a little bit, but it was kind of choppy. But I actually had to change some settings in OBS because I was exporting at a really high bit rate, which is probably why it was dropping so many frames. But it's good so far. And yeah, if there's any technical issues, guys, that maybe you noticed, like one of our audio is gone or video or something like that, just don't hesitate to drop that in the chat as well.
Yeah, and it looks like our delay between our stream is only like maybe 13 to 15 seconds, which is, pretty good. It's
Okay,
really good.
that's good. Good. Glad to see it then.
Based
Huh.
on your session time and what I'm watching, it looks like it's like 13, 15 seconds, which is pretty decent.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but it's mostly the same. And like I said, it's kind of different than if we were doing a race watch along or qualifying, where we're directly commentating on everything that's going on. We're obviously going to be talking about what we're watching, but at the same time, we're going to go off of tangents here and there of different topics in Formula One. So that's okay.
That Haas looks real low to the ground.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, there's a first topic we can go to then. In that case, good to report from the first, I would say, full day and a half of running. We haven't seen too much porpoising, but we have seen a lot of teams trialing different ride height setups. Ferrari ran a pretty low ride height yesterday, and Carlos Sainz was sparking away quite a bit. So, especially on the Mercedes, for example, they have really seemed to have gotten rid of their porpoising issues. Only kind of minimal bouncing that I saw at only certain points of the track. But keep in mind, the drivers are saying that this track is actually bumpier. It's gotten a little bit worse. So the good news is we don't have any of that crazy porpoising that we did see last season.
It's gotten bumpier, eh?
Yes, especially on braking into turn one, you'll probably notice it. And I think the drivers were saying in sector 2 as well, like turn 10, it's a little bit rough.
Well, hopefully by time they actually get onto the real race, they can adjust some of those issues, because it's a fairly new track, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm trying to think when the first race here was. I mean, it's more than 10 years old now, but I think it got resurfaced not that long ago, if memory serves me correct. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. It's always been known for its very rough and abrasive surface, though, this circuit.
Yeah, I guess based on where it is geography wise, you kind of expect it.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess we could do a quick update then on the current leaderboards and times for this PM session. There's 2 hours and 20 minutes remaining for the session. We will be live for the majority of this PM session, and then I will be going off afterwards in the evening to do the debrief show for the day. But if you take a look in the middle of your screen, you will see the live timing from this current session that's being updated periodically. Max Verstappen continuing from where he left off yesterday in P1 in this session, currently 18 laps up on the board. And let me just change this tab here to the tires. And then you guys should be able to see the lap counts as well. Nico Hulkenberg for Haas sitting right now currently in P2. He did that one on the soft tire though, so just keep that in mind. Max Verstappen did his on the medium. And then we got Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari, of course, that was from this morning, sitting in third. Logan Sargent, fourth. Charles Leclerc in fifth. Fernando Alonso, sixth. Guan Yu Zhou, seventh. Kevin Magnussen in eighth. Esteban Ocon is sitting right now in ninth. Pierre Gasly in 10th, 21 laps on the board at the moment. George Russell in 11th. Sergio Perez, that was from this morning, sitting in 12th. Lewis Hamilton this morning as well, 13th. Oscar Piastri, 14th. Nick De Vries in the AlphaTauri sitting in 15th, and then 16th and 17th go to Norris and Tsunoda respectively.
Hulkenberg is a surprise, but like you did say, it is a soft tire, and he's been out technically for like what, 4 seasons, 3 seasons, 3 or 4 seasons.
That's been about 3 seasons, yeah.
It's really good to see from him. I'm also the sergeant for Williams being up there is nice to see. And that with the amount of laps he's completed as well is a good combination.
Yeah, that was kind of Williams was one of the winners from yesterday because they did if I remember correctly, it was the third highest number of laps, and both cars in the top 10 at the end of the day in terms of times. I know obviously we can't really focus too much on lap times, but I still think that it was a really solid effort there from Sargent in his debut for Williams. But Williams are looking pretty solid. I mean, that maybe they won't be in the top 7 in terms of pace, but just kind of running without any issues, getting in a hell of a lot of laps is a good sign for them.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think the surprising one, and I'm sure it's just Mercedes and McLaren just running more tests on their cars, and they're trying to test for speed. Because I mean, I think they were the 2 manufacturers that probably had they were probably top 3 or 4 for most amount of issues last year. If I correct me if I'm wrong, I'm probably wrong, but they had a lot of issues with their car last year, so maybe they're just testing for oh my god, so getting up. Trying to see how long their car lasts throughout the season rather than see how fast it goes.
Yeah, one topic that I wanted to bring it up, and thankfully, actually, when I just opened the Twitter here, this is the first tweet that came up, and I was reading this morning. This comes from a German publication called Amos, or I think they're pronouncing that right. But they have a lot of really good insight coming from the pit lane and directly from the teams. And of course, obviously, keep this in mind. Take it with a grain of salt. It's not obviously all exactly how things are, but it's interesting that the Aston Martin, the AMR23, has made quite an impression on the other teams. As one engineer told the German publication, quote, "Maybe they are even ahead of Mercedes at this early stage," which is really interesting if it's true. And just to add on to this, an update from 3 minutes ago, quote, "Aston Martin has made the biggest step forward. According to our calculations, they are at least 4th and could even be dangerous to Mercedes and Ferrari."
That would be very interesting to see. And I would feel awful for Vettel for retiring if that happened. Yeah. It's Alonso really that's up there, right? Where's Lando Norris isn't in this session, right? He's not he got injured. That's what happened.
Yeah, Stroll's out. He might not even be actually in the first race a week from now, but it's to be confirmed.
So yeah, I mean that's good to see Alonso's out there, top 6, putting in the lap times.
Yeah, and yesterday too, now granted he went out late in the day and he did a really, really fast lap, which got him, I think it was about 2 or 3 100ths of a second off of Max Verstappen's fastest time on day 1. And that's a caveat that you have to keep in mind. Max set his lap time much earlier in the day, but it was still a really good lap because Aston Martin said that he was on not a low fuel program. He had a decent amount of fuel in the car, was on the medium tire, so it wasn't like he was a soft tire run. So it
Hmm.
was solid. I don't know if I believe this just yet. I would love it if this is true. And go out and check at Vettel Leclerc on Twitter. And for maybe the German speakers out there, you'll be able to read the article. But she has a great Twitter account because she translates a lot of these articles as well. So if this is true, I mean, that would be just a joy to watch, certainly in the beginning of the season. But I think just visually from watching yesterday, Aston Martin certainly looks good. I could say without a doubt that they are much better than they were last year.
Yeah, don't. That's good. I mean, this is Aston Martin's like third season, right? Not second season, third
That's right.
season.
Yeah.
That's good to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's about time, right? Of course,
Hmm.
they got the new factory coming this year. They got the wind tunnel in 2024, but it hasn't really lived up to the hype. I mean, they haven't even really done as well as they did when they were Racing Point and Force India when they were much smaller and had fewer resources. But I think now it's maybe coming together. This was sort of a longer term project, but Alonso in the car is going to make a huge difference because he was the most aggressive out of anybody by far on day one, and I'm sure today is going to be no different.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Alonso, but I think also having Vettel there for the first 2 years to kind of help with that as well was kind of a big step for them as well. You know, having two such experienced drivers stepping into their cars, giving them letting them know. I know Vettel didn't perform too well, but at least he can give them feedback on the car. And it's just, development over the last 3 years seems like it's really paid off for them. And we never knew it. We knew it was never going to be, first year they were going to come out of the gates, being in top five or anything like that. So it's nice to see them work over time, and yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm sure that had a lot of help to it as well with his experience and his knowledge. And now they get another world champion as well coming right after him. So it's good, good. Positive signs for Aston Martin so far. But yeah, let us know in the chat if you actually believe that, because again, this is coming from one engineer from in the pit lane who talked to them, who said they could be. But again, there's so many things that we don't know at the early point in this stage. So actually, this is a great, just to piggyback on the Aston Martin line, they've confirmed their day three driver lineup. So in the morning, tomorrow, will be Aston Martin's reserve driver, Felipe Drugovich. He was in the car yesterday morning. And then in the PM session will be Fernando Alonso once again. So Alonso currently out on track at the moment. He is doing the duties all by himself today. So that is the Aston Martin lineup. And I
sorry,
guess,
I'm just looking up something as well.
okay, while you look up something, then I will take the time to go through the driver lineup for this morning, or excuse me, this afternoon. And that will give an update for everybody so you know who is driving this afternoon. Let me just change it back to the timing there for you guys so you can see the latest leaderboard. Okay, so in for the PM session, here is the current driver lineup. So for Red Bull, Max Verstappen will be driving this afternoon slash evening. For Ferrari, it should be Charles Leclerc, I believe so. It is this afternoon. Let me just double check. Yes, Charles Leclerc is in the car this afternoon. George Russell for Mercedes. For Alpine, Pierre Gasly. Oscar Piastri is in for McLaren. Zhou Guanyu gets the entire day to himself today, so he is taking over again in the PM session. Nico Hulkenberg is in for Haas this afternoon. Nick De Vries for AlphaTauri, and Logan Sargent, who has the entire day two to himself as well. So that is the driver lineup, and the aforementioned Fernando Alonso for Aston Martin as well. Oh, nice. Looks like we got some chats coming through here. Hey, what's up, Greg? Well, we saw Greg on the streams yesterday, watching from Alberta, Canada. Shout out to Alberta, Canada. Hopefully, it's not too cold out there for you guys. Greg says Lance Stroll broke both wrists as per GP fans. Damn, I did not hear that. That's a pretty bad accident. I don't. I if he broke both wrists, then he's definitely not driving next week. That is definitely a shame. Hmm. Yeah, no confirmation yet. I'm just kind of quickly looking. Yeah, they haven't announced anything official, obviously, but I wonder then who. So, if you guys are listening out there, who would you put in the car? Then you have obviously Felipe, who is the official reserve driver, who has been in the session yesterday and is going to be in there tomorrow. But also keep in mind you have Stoffel Van Dorn at the disposal of Aston Martin as well. So I wonder who they're going to put in the car. I think logically it would make sense to put Drugovic in the car, considering he's been driving it for the past day and then tomorrow as well. But who knows? I've heard Van Dorn's name being thrown around as well.
Stoffel Van Dorn was Alonso's teammate when they back at McLaren, right? Like a few, like 5, 6 years back. Was
Yep, that's right.
that'd be cool. Um, I know they didn't get along super well, but I think it'd be cool.
You have to ask Van Dorn whether it's cool.
Yeah, they definitely didn't get along, right? From what I'm remembering.
I mean, it was pretty competitive. I mean, I don't think that it was as bad as some of the other teammate partnerships. I think the thing was is that like Fernando just kind of destroyed him in the head to head.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, I what I was looking up is I for Haas for their engineering, I thought they had a new engineering director. Because I thought that guy had left for with Roman. But no, I was just confused. I just
Oh,
hadn't
okay.
seen it in a few years.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah. I was learning a little bit about a Haas while I was doing that my research.
yeah. They have a lot of obviously the technical partnership with Ferrari. Their current technical director used to be at Ferrari, and then he kind of was loaned to them at first, and then they kind of just kept him on permanently. So there's a lot of kind of cross pollination between the two. So Haas currently sitting P2 at the moment with Nico Hulkenberg, 8 tenths off of the pace. Nico Hulkenberg so far in this PM session has completed 27 laps, same as his driver number. And he's the only driver outside of Logan Sargent to have run the soft tire in this PM session, if this data is correct. So we got Logan Sargent currently out on track again, doing a longer run. He's got the C2 tire on there, that white sidewall mark tire. 7 soft tire compounds available in this session once again. And because we were talking tires, let's pull up that tire graphic for everybody. I know this might be somewhat repetitive for some of the people who joined the stream yesterday, but if there are any new viewers today, then it's something good just to go over because they definitely have a lot of compounds at their disposal, and it's a little bit confusing to see which ones are which.
Has Perez come out since we started watching?
No,
I don't.
Perez isn't in the car right now.
Yeah,
He is done for. He gets tomorrow, all day tomorrow. That's going to be Sergio Perez's day.
makes sense.
All
I
right,
haven't
here
seen
we go. Yep, go ahead.
McLaren or Mercedes drivers either. I don't think.
No, not at the moment. I don't think I've seen Russell
Yeah, I saw
or
Russell was out of
Piastri.
his car about 5 minutes ago.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, they could be undergoing some setup changes. They're coming up on the 2 hour mark. A little bit of daylight still left in Bahrain. They've got the floodlights on already, but they're definitely still have a lot of time to make some changes. I'm curious whether we're going to see any soft tire kind of performance runs. I think some of the drivers who won't be driving tomorrow, for example, Max Verstappen, might be strapping on some soft tires because he won't obviously get the chance to drive tomorrow. So just to kind of get a feel for what the car is like on the softest compound, best grip, late at night conditions. All right, now that I got the tire graphic up, we can just do a quick review of that. So yeah, you got from C0, which is a kind of a new compound this year that they've debuted, all the way up to the wet tire, which I highly doubt that we're going to need any of the wet tires this year in Bahrain. So you have the C0, which is the white sidewall tire, but it doesn't have any of the white brackets on it. The C1 tire is the white brackets on the side. Then you have the C2 tire, which is the yellow marked Pirellis, but doesn't have any yellow brackets on it. The C3, which does have yellow brackets on it. And then there is also a C3 tire, which is completely blank, which is a Pirelli prototype. And then we get into the soft tires, which is the C4, the red, no brackets, and C5, the red, which has the brackets. So a little bit confusing. I'll leave that graphic up there for a few minutes just to get yourself a little bit familiarized with those compounds. But haven't seen much of the soft tires so far in this 2023 testing session. And yeah, Shaker, you were just talking about Sergio Perez, and there he is, of
Yeah, I just
course.
saw him
Mm.
with Russell. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what they were talking about. So we didn't do much of a livery talk yesterday because I was on my own. So I guess I'll pose the question to you then. What now that we've seen all the 10 cars out on the track, what is your favorite livery of 2023?
Oh, I want to say Haas. I want to say Haas. Or like I love the color scheme of McLaren. I don't know why the orange, blue, and black just looks awesome.
Yeah.
I think Haas's 2023 look. I'm just gonna reconfirm if it's the one I'm thinking of. Um, yeah, I like Haas. I think I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, me too. I really like Haas's livery as well. It would probably be in my top three for the favorite ones. I think mine is. I don't know. There's some really good ones this year. I really like Alfa Romeo's livery.
Yeah,
The Mercedes, the black with the hint of, I don't know what you call that, like a neon
yeah.
green look of it.
Probably my top three as well. I will comment on one thing on Alfa Romeos. Like they have a lot of sponsors, and their livery still looks amazing. I was just looking at it on the track too, and still looks really good with all these sponsors that they do have.
Yeah, they've integrated it really well into the livery this year, and we were talking about this yesterday. So many of the teams just deciding to not even paint the car and just running the straight carbon fiber look just to save weight. So some teams have really worked it really well. I think Alfa Romeo did a good job, and of course Mercedes was the easiest, just going back to the all black livery. But I actually think my favorite livery would be Ferrari's.
Yeah,
And I don't know. I just think the Ferrari, obviously, Ferrari most of the years looks really good. It's red and it's no surprise. But with the way that they have some of the black on there and the big Ferrari logo on the rear wing, I don't know. It just looks really, really good. It looks great during the day. It looks phenomenal in the night. We're going to see it shortly when it gets completely dark. So I think I'll go with the Ferrari.
nice. Yeah, I mean that's a classic choice.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, let us know in the chat, guys. What is your favorite livery of 2023? Got some pretty decent ones to choose from this year for sure. And now that they're showing McLaren actually out on the screen at the moment in the hands of rookie Oscar Piastri, just reading an article here that McLaren has admitted that it has failed to hit development targets with its 2023 car after suffering teething problems in the Bahrain test. They had some issues with the brakes yesterday, and now I guess Zach Brown has just pretty much come out and been honest and said where they're at. So if you're a McLaren fan, that's not really good news. It's not something that you want to hear after sliding back into fifth in the championship last year. And now you got the CEO admitting that they're already on the back foot ahead of this season. There we saw Fernando Alonso getting strapped into the car earlier, running out on track. He's actually currently up on my screen as well. Fernando Alonso sitting P6. So not much changes going on currently at the moment. We're coming up on 2 hours. At the top of the hour, bottom of the hour, we'll always do just a quick leaderboard update and lap update as well, but nothing too dramatic changing at the moment. Looks like Alonso is on that C2 tire. Let's see. Let me get a closer look. Bring up the telemetry for you guys again. We can know for sure. Looks like it's a C3. Alonso on that C3 yellow tire. Yep. Alonso leading the lap count as well for today. So yeah, we're about hitting 2 hours now. Left to go in day 2 of 2023 F1 winter testing. You are watching the Backmarkers F1 show Watchalong stream. Chris Cato here with Shaker Barty, and we'll bring you all of the updates for today and from this session as well. We just passed the 2 hour mark here in day 3 of the PM session, about to be nightfall in Bahrain as well, so it's about to get really nice and sparkly at night. So let's just do a quick update. We're just going to look at the drivers currently participating in this PM session and see where they are in the standings. Max Verstappen, right back where we left off yesterday, setting the fastest time of the day so far and also of this session. 18 laps currently on the board for the reigning world champion. Haas's Nico Hulkenberg sitting there nicely in P2 at the moment. He just completed his 34th lap in this PM session. Take into account, though, that lap was done on the soft compound tire, so just keep that in mind when looking at that time. Logan Sargent in for Williams. He is doing the entire day today. He is leading the way overall in terms of laps done today with 111. He's currently doing a longer run on that C1 tire, so he's out there for Williams. Charles Leclerc as well, currently sitting in the garage, so we haven't seen the Ferrari of Leclerc yet, but he's done 22 laps so far in this PM session, sitting at P5. Fernando Alonso for Aston Martin. We've talked a lot about him so far. He's doing the entire day 2 session today, 105 laps on the board. He is currently on a longer run as well on that medium tire. Zhou Guanyu, same situation. He's doing the entire day. Pretty solid for Alfa Romeo, not just today, but yesterday as well. He's got 98 laps on the board, currently on the C1 hard tire. And Oscar Piastri for McLaren sitting 8th place right now on that medium tire. He's completed 34 laps in this PM session. Pierre Gasly right behind in 9th. 25 laps on the board so far for Alpine. He is on the medium tire as well. Haven't seen too much performance runs from Alpine. They've been pretty quiet the first 2 days so far. We'll see if that changes anytime. George Russell in 12th. Haven't seen much of him yet in this session, so hopefully we will get to see more of George Russell. And Nick de Vries, 42 laps so far on the board in this PM session. Just to go back to Russell, he's only completed 20 laps so far. I think Mercedes are doing some setup changes, but I will double check that as well. So that is pretty much the rundown for the drivers participating in the PM session. Relatively quiet so far. I don't think that we've seen anything noteworthy as of yet at the moment.
It's interesting to see that De Vries has put in a better lap time than Tsunoda.
Yeah, he's been driving pretty solid so far. This was one topic we covered yesterday. A lot of people were thinking, or even just posing the question, if they thought that if De Vries was beating Tsunoda, would they drop Tsunoda halfway throughout the season? And I said they probably would. I could see that happening.
Who would they replace him with?
That's an excellent question. I really don't know. They suggest somebody in the chat yesterday suggested Liam Lawson, which is one of the Red Bull Junior drivers, but I don't even know if that's really the best idea because, I mean, you're going to replace a relatively young driver with an even younger driver, and I don't think that there's anybody right now in the Red Bull Junior Academy that's, with all due respect, I would say, not as highly rated as some of the past junior drivers. So I don't know. That would be... I suggested maybe Daniel Ricciardo. I don't know if he'd be willing to come back to AlphaTauri.
So my thought went to Daniel Ricciardo as well. Like, would Red Bull step in and be like, "Hey, Daniel needs a ride"?
It could happen. I just don't know if he wants to come back to F1 that quickly. He seems pretty happy to be taking the year off, but if there's a chance to be in F1, then maybe he won't pass it up.
Yeah, I'd be the only reason I'd be interested to see Drive to Survive this year is if they did a little like 5 to 10 minute thing with Daniel Ricciardo just to see what he's up to.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, good point. Drive to Survive is out today.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, I think it's live everywhere now, right?
I think so. I thought it was a. Oh, it is the 25th. Yeah, yeah. I thought it was the 26th, but you're right.
Yeah,
But
so we'll maybe be catching one or two episodes later this evening once all of the work is done. But we'll see. We'll see what this season is like.
speaking of, I'm actually going I'm going to Top Karting this weekend. We're gonna be doing a Grand Prix race
Oh
with
yeah.
like, but yeah, I'm actually pretty stoked.
Oh, you should definitely record that.
I'm gonna see if I can pull out my GoPro.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, it's been a while since I've gone karting as well. It's been too long.
I went Amigo karting once, like last year, for like the first time since I was like a kid, and then all my friends really got into it. So we're going to Top Karting because obviously there's like snow and ice everywhere. So it's an indoor karting place in Gatineau.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I was doing the league night there a couple of years ago, but it's a pretty decent track. It's a very short track and it's very like a winding track.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's very tight, very narrow as well, but it's fun. It's good fun.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. I think we're getting like a oh my God, like a qualifying session. Then we get into the race and stuff like that. I think we get 2 or 3 qualifying sessions.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. So I'm seeing on my screen they're working on the A523 Pierre Gasly's Alpine. They've got the engine cover off, and they're making some changes toward the front of the car as well, the front wing. So it doesn't look like Pierre Gasly will be going out in the next 15 or 20 minutes or so. I think it's just setup changes, nothing, no issues or anything like that. But yeah, we're not going to see Pierre Gasly for another little while. He's got 25 laps on the board, so still plenty of work to do for Gasly, but he's got a lot of time left in this session.
I I'm not a big fan of the Alpine's car because it reminds me too much of Force India with the pink.
But the thing,
I know it's their sponsorship, like BWT Technologies, but it reminds me of like Force India.
yeah, that's kind of that spot. BWT is pretty much always required their teams to run like a certain amount of pink, or I mean, like you said, the Force India used to be all pink in their
Yeah.
entire livery. So I think, I mean, this looks okay with the way that they integrated it with the blue. But yeah, I always okay. Well, they're actually running the all pink livery for the first three races of this season. Okay, we got an interesting tweet here. I'll post this up for everybody to see. We talked a little bit yesterday about top speed so far in testing. So here is 60 minutes ago, we got the updates on the top speed so far in day 2 of testing. So currently, Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari is the fastest at 326 kilometers an hour of top speed. Charles Leclerc, his teammate, 324 kilometers an hour. Logan Sargent, 324 kilometers an hour as well. Same thing for Kevin Magnussen. Fernando Alonso, 323 kilometers an hour, and Max Verstappen with the slowest top speed so far on this list at 322 kilometers an hour. Slowest on the top speed list for Verstappen, but number one where it matters the most.
If you don't mind, Chris, I'm just gonna go and make myself a coffee really quickly.
Yeah, you got it. No problem. I will just hold on. Okay, I put a background image in case you're a camera, so you're free to go do whatever you need.
I was gonna turn my camera off anyways.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, I'll be quick.
Yeah, yeah, not a problem, man. Take your time. We got still a lot of time to go here, guys. So if you are in the live chat, comment what your thoughts are so far from day 2 of testing. Have you been watching the action all day? Are you just tuning in right now? Let us know. Ask us any questions, anything that you want. Help to keep this conversation going. We've obviously got a lot of opportunities for you guys to support the channel as well. You've got the super chat option below. If you have the possibility to donate and help our work, please do so. You could do that by super chat, and that highlights a comment or your question that we'll get to. And there's also some links in the description of this video as well for our PayPal and for our Buy Me a Coffee as well. Everything's done by us here in the Backmarkers F1 Show channel. Everything is in-house. It's all on us. So everything that you support us with goes directly back into the channel, if you can, obviously. So check those out. Otherwise, better ways to support us. You can like this video, share it, post it wherever your F1 communities are, and of course, subscribe to the channel as well. An update on the schedule, excuse me, an update on the schedule for tomorrow's live streams. Tomorrow, of course, will be the final day of 2023 winter testing, and we're going to be going live for both sessions once again. So we're going to be live in the AM session. That is, of course, a 4 a.m. Eastern start time for those of you in the East, and that is a 10 a.m. Central European time for those viewers in Europe or in other parts of the world. So all of that information, once again, homepage of our channel, you can see the tab right there, upcoming live streams, and you'll be able to find all of that information as well. As we quickly come to the end of 2023 winter testing, only 3 days so far, so it's been very, very quick, and not much time for these cars to get up to speed with the new machines and get the season going. We are I would say almost a week to the day exactly that we'll have Formula One action back officially with the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix. So should be good. It's definitely going to be an exciting time. So let's get back to the live timing in the middle of your screen here. Been a relatively quiet PM session so far. Haven't seen any major issues, any technical issues. We had a few in the morning session, not anything major, but Fernando Alonso had some floor damage, which forced him to have to go back into the garage, get some repairs. This driver currently on the screen at the moment, Zhou Guanyu, had some gearbox issues, which kept him in the pit lane for a little bit longer than he would have liked to. So that was some issues that were going on for Alfa Romeo, but they've got that sorted out now. And Max Verstappen, actually some pretty quiet PM session as well. He's only got 18 laps completed so far in this PM session with almost an hour and 48 minutes left on the clock. Nico Hülkenberg has done 35 laps in this session. George Russell currently is exiting the garage. He's only done 20 laps himself. Mercedes doing a lot of setup changes on that car, and George Russell going out at the moment from what looks like to be one of the harder compound of tires, but it's hard to see from this angle. He's doing a practice start right now just on the start of the pit lane there. Yeah, he's on the C3 tire, the medium compound. Let's see if he's most likely going to do some sort of a longer run as well. But Mercedes feeling pretty good about where the team is. Certainly much better than what they had in 2022. Comments from team principal Toto Wolff saying they don't have the sort of fear and anxiety they did with the W13 at this point in last season. But they still believe they're about 4 to 6 tenths slower than Red Bull, for example, just because of the fact that they have so much of a gap to make up from last season as well. And regardless of the fact that they've seemed to have eradicated the porpoising issues, the car still isn't exactly where they wanted to. Some journalists commenting trackside that it does tend to understeer at some points in the circuit, more or less into turn 10. And it's easier to drive than it was in 2013. It's a lot more stable. That is the comment coming from the drivers. A little bit more predictable and more stable at the rear as well, which is good news if you're a Mercedes fan. But we'll see how much of the gap is in terms to Red Bull and to Ferrari as well once we get going next week. But they've been kind of running a typical program for them in winter testing, which is pretty quiet, not any headline times or anything like that. Well, now we got this little bit of a lull in the action. I figured we get to show some trackside shots of the cars from Bahrain. Of course, we can't show you any footage. It's copyrighted, but we can at least show you some cool tweets from trackside. And you get to hear also these cars. Sorry about that. So that was Nick De Vries earlier in the AlphaTauri, who is currently out on track at the moment. And there you see the rear diffuser of the RB19, the Red Bull, which has been catching some heads for sure in and across the pit lane since yesterday. And George Russell back into the pit lane at the moment. I wonder if he's just going to drive through. Yes, he is. Going for another practice start by the looks of it. And Russell's on his way again, so looks like he wanted to get another practice start in, just drove through the pit lane there. We'll see if he gets on with his program now, but we'll keep going through Twitter here, see what interesting things that we can find. And here's some updates actually on Mercedes that we were talking about earlier. I was just looking at a replay of them pushing Charles Leclerc. That was strange. I wonder if he wasn't able to turn all the way. They were pushing Charles Leclerc out onto the pit lane, and that's how he got going. That was interesting. But yes, just an update here on Mercedes. You guys are able to see in the middle of your screen there. Amos again reporting that Mercedes will have a new rear wing for the season start. This should help improve their top speed. Red Bull won't have any upgrades for the first race, so the car will stay relatively the same as it is in testing, which maybe just to read between the lines, I think that just kind of shows how confident Red Bull is in where their car is at in the moment. But there isn't really much time anyways. Of course, with pre-practice being only a week away, I don't think that you would have a hell of a lot of time anyways to try and manufacture some new parts and get it flown in. So they're pretty happy with where their car is. Red Bull look very, very strong to start 2023. I think that they'll be at the front of the pack, but that's no question about that. Whether they'll be P1 or P2, we're not sure, but they look, I think, the strongest so far out of this day and a half of testing. But it'd be interesting to get some sort of an update or a report on where Max Verstappen is at the moment in terms of what they're doing with the car. And it doesn't seem like there's any issues or anything like that, because I think that we would have seen it already on the F1 TV feed. But I think that they're just getting in there, maybe doing some setup changes before he gets out for the remaining hour and 42 minutes that we've got here on day 2. And continuing on with this thread here, I'll keep this up here so you guys can read along with me. Red Bull is a bit concerned of Ferrari being able to unleash the full potential of their power unit again, after Ferrari had seemed to fix the reliability. Mercedes isn't concerned, however, mentioning that Ferrari already used full power in Abu Dhabi last year. And Amos again reporting that Mercedes already has an evolution of their car in the wind tunnel. The side pods are different. It is to evaluate the most promising concept, not a plan B. Rumors say the evolution is closer to looking like the Red Bull concept, which doesn't surprise me at all. A lot of the teams have moved to that Red Bull concept Williams, for example, Aston Martin, we already talked about that yesterday. They had kind of already moved to it last season as well, but many teams have gone to not necessarily copying what Red Bull is doing, but just moving to that concept instead of the zero pod concept, which Mercedes is really the only team still sticking with that. And if this is true of what they're reporting, if they are going to bring essentially a different car within the first few races and moving to a Red Bull concept, then we know that their concept of the zero pod didn't really work out, and they're going to go with something else. So, yep, keep in mind these are all just reports, nothing confirmed at the moment, but Amos is a pretty good, reliable source, and you get some really good information from them in terms of breaking news and rumors. Some interesting, I don't even know if that's Flovis on George Russell's car, on just below the left front tire there. It's interesting. We'll maybe see what that is, but we see Charles Leclerc out on track. First time that we've seen Leclerc on track here in the PM session since we've gone live.
It came back at a good time then.
Yeah. There we go, back from full house. Yeah, Leclerc is just out now at the moment. And while you were away too, George Russell had come out and started his run program.
Yeah, I think I saw him getting into his cars when I walked away. So how did he do? Good session?
Well, he went he went out for a lap, and then he went through the pit lane again just to do another practice start. So I think now he's actually started his flying laps. I think he's going for more of a longer run.
Okay.
Same with Leclerc as well. He's currently on the C3 tire, not doing any personal bests, so he's probably on a higher fuel run. A driver who is on some personal bests is AlphaTauri's Nick de Vries. Personal bests in sectors 1 and 2, and he is about to cross the line and moves up into 12th place. Let me get the timing for you guys here. We'll come back to Twitter in just a second. Just reload the timing there. It's a little bit slow. It's behind our live feed, but De Vries is up into 12th place, completing 45 laps so far on the day. Yeah, let's see the Ferrari again, sparking away just slightly onto turn 1. Perfect replay as we can see here. There's quite a decent bump. Yeah, there it is. You'll be able to see that where he sparks away. That's more of obviously coming from the track. That's not really porpoising there. But yeah, I mean, look at that Ferrari. It looks beautiful under the lights. All right, there we go. Live timing is back in the middle of the screen. Apologies for the delay there, guys. And we got Fernando Alonso back out on track as well. He has moved to the C2 tire, so the white sidewall. He's on a hard tire run at the moment. 112 laps under his belt for the day. If you look in comparison to the other two drivers who are solo for day 2, Guan Yu Zhou has 113 laps completed. Logan Sargent at 125 laps. So decent amount of laps there for Fernando Alonso and Aston Martin as well. Logan Sargent just entering the pit lane right now. He did a 20-lap stint on that hard tire. Oh, and we got a... Oh, yeah, we got a red flag. Car stopped out on track, guys. Okay, this is interesting. And it is the Mercedes of George Russell. It is stopped out on track. It looks like at the exit of turn 10, right before the DRS activation line there. So I wonder if we'll be able to get some sort of team radio here.
Fitting in very well, so far so good.
Doesn't look like it. Okay, first red flag here of this PM session. George Russell is getting out of the car, so it looks like some sort of terminal issue there for George Russell. We'll see if we can get you guys an update or some team radio on what's going on with George Russell's car, but it looks like with an hour and 35 minutes remaining, it might be his day is done. And we were just speaking about Mercedes and how they were having a solid go of it and pretty smooth running, but up until then, we've got some sort of a problem there for George Russell.
You know, the funny thing is, right before, well, not right before, probably like 20 minutes ago, they showed Russell on screen, and then and they had 11 DNFs listed at under his title, and I'm like, yo, that's a crazy stat to put up for somebody who's about to go in for testing. Like, what if shit happens and he DNFs? Just cursed him, man.
Yeah. And tell you what, he's got the fewest amount of laps up on the board just in today. Let's see, hold on. I'm going to bring in maybe some audio here if we get... It doesn't sound like gearbox.
Engine.
Yeah, I think so.
Stuck in a
Yeah,
gear.
so there's a message that popped up on his dash, and I'm pretty sure it said
It's not going past the gear from what it
It
sounds
would make
like.
sense that he's stuck in fourth gear as well. As soon as he was told on the radio, obviously, yeah, because the hydraulics.
Okay, hydraulics.
Yeah, I just brought in some of that commentary. So yeah, stuck in fourth gear, and then you just had to stop the car.
We're looking at hydraulic issues.
Oh, I'm saying, that fucking happens, man.
Yeah, it goes
If it was
into
6th or
anti-stall.
7th gear, maybe you could have done it, but Ricardo did it, but
Well, that really sucks then for George Russell and for Mercedes as well. Let's see if we can get any up-to-date information. Yeah, we will keep you posted though, guys. But Russell is out of the car currently at the moment. Stuck out on turn 10, and it looks like his day is done, unfortunately. And it looks like it's something electrical as well, because the marshals are standing beside the car, but they are not touching it at the moment and not really getting too close to it. So I don't think the car is safe yet for the marshals to try and extricate it. First red flag of this PM session. Other than that, it's been pretty smooth running up until now. But yeah, Russell, he's just kind of sitting there trackside looking around. Okay, hold on here. Let's see if we can... I don't know if they'll have the commentators over this.
Yeah.
they do have
Yeah,
commentators.
okay. That's unfortunate because in previous years, they used to have a tab on F1 TV where you could just play the FX audio, which is just the trackside audio. But they don't have that option this year, so unfortunately we can't give you guys any natural sound.
Yeah, it seems pretty basic this year for the preseason, eh?
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean, I
just-
haven't... Yeah, I think it is, actually. Haven't seen any, like, team radios or anything like that either.
So maybe just because it is testing, they're just keeping it minimal.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe they are. I'm glad they are showing it, though, at least. It helps us for these streams.
Yeah, you really can't get out of fourth, eh? Holy shit.
Yeah. Okay, looks like... No, they still haven't moved the car yet. Still not touching the car either.
Was that a Mustang GT?
The medical car?
Yeah,
I think it was a Mercedes. It was that Mercedes SUV.
that makes more sense. I was gonna say Ford's not that involved yet.
Yeah. Yeah, that Mercedes W14 still not safe to touch because none of the marshals are getting closer to it. I'll get this up for you guys, for anybody who's just joining us. There we go. George Russell is stopped out on track. Some sort of hydraulic issue. He was stuck in fourth gear, had to stop at the exit of turn 10, and we've got our first red flag of the PM session. 90 minutes to go in day 2, session 2 on Backmarkers F1 show live streams for 2023 winter testing. Looks like some Mercedes mechanics are actually going to be going out to the track getting
Mercedes.
Where did they get that? That is definitely that dude's car.
I love that. That's awesome.
Oh my god.
It's no matter what car it is. Oh, it's a Lexus.
It's like a shitbox Lexus.
That's amazing. Couldn't spend the money on testing.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that before. They usually have one of the official vehicles, but it's just some guy's Lexus.
They called up the Uber.
Yeah, he probably was an Uber too. So under red flag conditions, guys, the clock is obviously still running, so this is not an ideal situation for some of the drivers that haven't got too many laps on the board yet in this PM session, but that is how things go. They do not stop the clock, they keep it going. No, you know what? Actually, Shaker, I think you were right. That is some sort of a Mustang.
I saw Mustang. That's why I was confused. I saw GT, and that's what really threw me off. And it's just the taillights look like a Mustang. Yeah, it is a Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they just have like random cars from Bahrain on track. They don't have actual like F1 vehicles or whatever.
I guess not.
That's interesting. Oh, sorry, my dog's at the door. I'll be right back.
So Russell just taking a peek at his car, looking at the front end there. Nobody's touching it yet. I mean, they have gotten a little bit closer, but I don't think... They're either waiting for the engineers that got into the Lexus to get there, or the car is unsafe yet. I can't see where the light is. They usually have the little safety light on the car that tells the marshals whether it's safe or not to approach because of all the electrical systems on the board. But Russell's touching it, so I think it's more so the fact that they're waiting for the mechanics, and they're just arrived on the scene as well, so it looks like they'll be getting that car out of the way. Yeah, so that's what it is. They were just waiting for the mechanics to get things out of the way and get it going.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Cool. So they're putting a cover over the car right now, and then they're going to put it on the flatbed truck, hopefully get it out of the way. I think we're probably looking at another 10 minutes or so until we can get a green flag going again. And I would probably say now, almost with certainty, that that is George Russell's day done. Clock is still running, hour and 26 minutes left. By the time they get that car back, by the time they have to look it over, I don't think that he'll be getting out onto the track again for today.
Would they bring him back tomorrow then?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think let me see where Russell's supposed to be driving tomorrow. So Russell will be taking part in the AM session tomorrow. So certainly they should be able to get whatever the issue is fixed until then. But I don't think he'll get any more running done for today. So no, just gonna reload here to see if they've got any more updates. Yeah, just Russell reporting he had no power, had to stop on the exit of turn 10. Nothing more official up until then.
Ooh, there's oil leaking. That's an issue.
From the rear?
Yeah.
Yeah, and confirmed there. Apparently his steering wheel showed the message hydraulic failure as well, so we can pretty much all but confirm that that's what that was. So as the clock ticks away here, we can just do a quick update then on the situation that was before the red flag. And this will impact some of the drivers and the rest of their plans for this evening, particularly the ones that won't be in the car tomorrow, like for example, Max Verstappen and Logan Sargent, Guan Yu Zhou, because they did all of today, so their teammates will be doing all of tomorrow. So if you look at Max Verstappen, for example, he's only done 18 laps so far in this PM session, regardless of the fact that he has the fastest time. But that is going to hinder him a little bit as the clock is still ticking with an hour and 23 minutes remaining. So we'll see. It should be a pretty busy return to the session once we get this Mercedes cleared. But Max Verstappen still sitting first at the moment with Nico Hulkenberg in second. Hulkenberg has completed 38 laps in this PM session so far. Carlos Sainz, I'll just actually stick to the drivers who are currently driving in this session. Logan Sargent sitting fourth place right now. He's been in the car all day with 125 laps completed. He was on a pretty long run on that hard tire, the C2, completing 20 laps in that previous stint. Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari was just actually out on track before the red flag came out. He's sitting in fifth place with 27 laps completed in this PM session. Fernando Alonso, another driver who has been doing entire days worth of driving for Aston Martin, he's sitting in sixth place. He had just started a C2 hard tire long run, only completing 2 laps before the red flag came out. He's got 113 laps completed on the board today. Zhou Guanyu in the Alfa Romeo, same situation for him. He's been in the C43 all day long, 113 laps on the board as well. He was on a previous stint of 19 laps on that hard tire. Going further down the order then, in 8th place at the moment, Oscar Piastri for McLaren. He's completed 34 laps so far in the afternoon. Pierre Gasly for Alpine has been relatively quiet, 28 laps on the board. And not Esteban Ocon, Nick De Vries for AlphaTauri. 46 laps completed on the board. AlphaTauri doing a lot of long runs today. And George Russell in 13th, the driver whose car is currently being lifted by a crane onto the flatbed truck. His day is done. 26 laps completed, only good for 13th place. And that rounds out the drivers currently in the PM session. So still under red flag conditions at the moment in Bahrain.
And so I'm getting training on how to operate those crane in 2 weeks. I don't understand how like the car just doesn't fall apart for where it's hanging. I know they put hot on it and stuff, but like
They've definitely dropped them in the past, which is why I think
oh,
they're always so nervous.
They dropped the rear out. I think you might have missed it because you were reading it off, but they dropped the rear a little bit.
Oh, they did. Oh boy.
They were because like the obviously like the mechanics are trying to cover up the bottom, so they're like slowly like lifting it up, but they dropped the rear a little bit while like both the mechanics were at the back, and I'm just like terrified, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they have it tied up with the roll hoop, but I wonder. I mean, it's not like they're holding it that hard, but yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I think that's why they sent the Mercedes mechanics out there though as well. They just wanted to make sure that no more damage was being done.
Yeah, and to help cover up the vehicle, I think they were the three drivers that we saw, the three mechanics that we saw getting in that Lexus. I think they're the same three guys here.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, a little bit of a delay here going on to get this car out of the way. Of course, there isn't so much urgency to get the car moved as there maybe would be during a regular Grand Prix weekend, but nonetheless, it does negatively affect the rest of the running going on here today. But yeah, you can see it now. They're just really ever so gently placing the car onto the flatbed truck. And there we go. And they'll get it disconnected. Hopefully the truck will be on its way very shortly. Not too far to go to the pit lane, actually, but as Shaker was mentioning before, he saw a little bit of oil leaking onto the track, so I wonder if they're going to need to clean that up a little bit there. Although Russell was off the racing line where he stopped, but still could be hazardous. Must be pretty exciting for those marshals, though. I bet you they've been waiting for this opportunity all weekend long.
Yeah.
All right, so while that is being done, let's dive back into our Twitter feed, see if we can get any more updates on the Mercedes situation or any more updates on the teams in terms of what type of run plans they will be doing for the rest of the session. And there you see some Mercedes on the detail of the floor there for Mercedes. Just a little bit relevant now that they're causing the red flag. And it's really unfortunate for Russell just to get back on the red flag situation because we are now getting into, or we now are in already, the prime conditions for what will be qualifying and the race a week from now. So, of course, depending on what the run plans are for the teams, some of them might be doing some race trial runs or some qualifying trial runs, and these are the best conditions to do so to simulate it for next week, and he won't be getting that chance, unfortunately. And tomorrow won't get that chance either because he's driving in the morning. So it's going to be a little hit and miss for George Russell as he gets into the car next week for the Bahrain Grand Prix. All right, there we go. The flatbed is on the move. And it doesn't look like they're actually taking it. Okay, I think there's some sort of an escape road that leads to the pit lane because they're not going out on the track.
Yeah, hopefully they start working on fixing that track right away too. Because I mean, minimum those drivers will at least get an hour. Hopefully.
Yeah, an hour and 17 minutes left. Hopefully we can get going here in the next 10 minutes or so. I expect it should be pretty busy as soon as the green flag drops once again.
Yeah, it says session will resume at 18:14 local time, so probably in like a minute.
Okay, perfect. That's good.
I can stay till like 10:30, and then I gotta start getting ready.
Yeah, no worries, man. Sounds good. I will be probably going until the last 10 minutes or so of this stream, and then I'll get set for the debrief show. at least we'll have a little bit of something, a little bit of drama to talk about in the wrap up show, as we got our first red flag there of the day. So some talking points there that we'll get to. Hopefully, we'll have some updates and then, but pretty clear that it was a hydraulic failure. And there we go. Pit lane is open once again. Oscar Piastri already going out onto the track. And yeah, after a little bit of a delay, we're about to get set to go again.
All right, so here's one of the other reasons I like the McLaren, just because I just like noticed it and it looks awesome. They have the Chrome wheels from like Google Chrome because of one of their sponsors. It looks awesome.
Yeah, on the wheel rims, yeah.
Yeah,
I really like the McLaren livery too. That's
it looks good.
yeah.
Because they used to have a darker blue last year, right? Is what it was. I want to say.
Yeah, I think so. They have I think last year they had more blue, but of course they've gone with more of the weight saving measures for this season. But yeah, the car looks. I always like the orange black combination.
Yeah, same.
So currently 3 cars out on track at the moment. We had Oscar Piastri, or excuse me, 4 cars out on track. Piastri in the McLaren. We have Hulkenberg in the Haas. Logan Sargent in the Williams. Zhou Guanyu leading the pack there is out as well. And we've got what looks to be like the Alpine of Pierre Gasly too has just got onto the track. So I think we're in for a fairly busy end to this session with an hour and 15 minutes remaining. So Piastri is out on the C3, that medium tire. Let's give you guys a tire update here on the timing screen. If we just change this tab here. Yeah, Hulkenberg out on the medium tire. Sargent is out on the medium tire as well. Piastri, as I said, medium tire. They're showing Zhou Guanyu on the hard tire. And same, nope, it just changed. Charles Leclerc also on the medium tire as well. And Piastri's coming back into the pits. I wonder if he's going for a practice start. Yeah, looks like he's going for another practice start. So currently showing Sargent out on our screens at the moment. He is on the C3 medium tire as well. So, and there we go. Max Verstappen just exiting the garage now as well, showing that he is on the hard tire. Let's just see. It might update itself. I wonder if that's the case. Verstappen currently the driver with the least amount of laps completed today, but also in this PM session with only 19 laps on the board so far. Oh, nice lap there from Nick De Vries. Popped up into 7th place. I just got to reload the timing again. They got quite a healthy delay on the F1.com website.
Ooh, Sargent with not such a great lap.
Yeah, he's probably still on long runs there. Still sitting 4th place though, which is good. Piastri's back out again. Looks like he'll be starting some hot laps really shortly. And I'm wondering if we haven't seen Fernando Alonso yet out on track after the red flag. As we approach hour and 10 minutes to go here, day 2 of the PM session. 1 hour and 10 minutes remaining. And then we'll have just one final day left of testing tomorrow on Saturday. Of course, Backmarkers F1 show will be live for 2 sessions tomorrow, one in the AM and one in the PM as well. And you can find all of that in the homepage of our channel in terms of the schedule there. So make sure to enable notifications and join us for those streams as well. And we got Alonso on an outlap at the moment, so he's going to be out on track. So it looks like we've got almost every car out on track at the moment. There we go. Just sharing some things there. Posting it out on social media as well. You can find all of our social links in the middle of the screen there, guys, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We mainly use Twitter and Instagram, just posting different content updates and things like that. So make sure to follow us there. BMF1 Show. On Twitter, it is BMF1_show. Just keep in mind that is slightly different, but you can find those also in the description of this video as well. We've seen Pierre Gasly. We haven't seen Pierre Gasly, I don't think, since we started this stream. The first time we've seen him in this PM session, at least. And he looks like he's on somewhat of a longer run program here. Not a personal best in the first sector. He's currently got the 10th fastest time of the day, 1:33.1. 30 laps on the board so far for one of 2 Frenchmen on the grid this season. Okay, now it's starting to get a little bit interesting here. As I saw the timing there, Fernando Alonso setting a personal best in the first sector. He is currently, now according to this data, it says he's on the hard tire, but he's definitely not. He's on the medium tire, so that is not correct on F1's data, but he is going quicker at the moment. Personal best in Sector 2 as well. 7/10 down on the best time set by Max Verstappen, but this looks like it should be a faster lap there for Alonso. Let's see where he finishes. Finished pretty good on that lap, damn. Once again, Alonso going P2 on the day there with the 1:32.4. Still 7/10 off of Verstappen's best time, but a good lap for Fernando Alonso, picking up where he left off exactly in the PM session yesterday, doing similar good lap times. That was also Alonso's 116th lap of today. So a good, healthy number of laps for Aston Martin. Not too many issues for the Silverstone team. Had some floor damage earlier on in the day, but nothing major. No electrical or technical issues like they did yesterday, which is good. And now let's see what Leclerc has got on this run. Currently sitting P6, and not a performance run here for Leclerc. 2.2 seconds down in that first sector. So Ferrari is also on a longer run, a more consistent run program here in the PM session. So you could be seeing a lot of teams opting to go for longer race runs in the evening session now, because these are similar to the conditions we'll expect next Sunday at the race. But we could also have some teams trying to go for some performance runs closer to the end of this session.
The car suddenly didn't look quite as good as it was.
Sorry about that. There was some commentary on that one. Okay, there we go. Got that issue resolved. There. All right. Got that solved and out of the way. So on the timing screens, they're saying Zhou Guan Yu and Nick de Vries are on an outlap at the moment. So we'll have, by the looks of it, all cars out on track as we approach 1 hour remaining here on day 2. Nick de Vries with a personal best lap time of a 1:33.1. And this lap should actually be one to watch for, because he is on one of the softer compound tires. Looks like that is the C5, the softest compound tire. So this should be interesting. We should be getting a more of a performance run here from the Dutchman. One of the first drivers to really strap on a set of softs here in the evening session. So this should be interesting. Let's see where his time ends up. Yeah, it looks like this is more of a push lap from de Vries, personal best in the first sector. Still, it was about 0.3 off of Verstappen's best first sector, but this is going to be more of a performance run here from de Vries. I must say the AlphaTauri livery does look a little bit better in real life than it did on the pictures. I'm kind of starting to like it more now that I see it, especially at night.
Yeah, it's similar to like Haas's like color scheme, but like the blue just makes it, the red and the white stick out more. But I was thinking the same thing. It looks really good. I would include it in my top 3.
Yeah. So that's 2 personal best for de Vries. He's just coming down the back straight now. Zhou Guan Yu was on a personal best in his first sector, but he goes slower in the second sector. De Vries about to cross the line now.
Good from de Vries in second.
Yep, that's a good lap. Moves into P2. And unfortunately, Zhou Guan Yu, his mistake made in the second and third sector, not able to improve, so he stays in 8th place. So de Vries was actually on the C4 tire on that lap. So de Vries, Hulkenberg, and Sargent has set their best times on the soft tire. Sargent running the C5. excuse me, De Vries and Hulkenberg running the C4.
No, my stream's lagging.
And Fernando Alonso went back to the pits as well, so I wonder if he will be coming back out on one of the softer compounds of tires. He set his best lap time on the medium. A little bit of a race going on here between Nico Hulkenberg and Max Verstappen. And Verstappen gets the overtake done going into turn 1.
I'm actually surprised that Max ended up keeping the number 1 this year. I thought he would have gone to number 3 now that Daniel Ricciardo's got retired.
I think the rule is that he would have to wait one more year to be able to go with the 3.
Oh, after after they retire? Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's the rule, is that you have to wait a year or 2 years after that driver to be able to run their number, something like that.
That makes sense. Understandable why he didn't go back to 33 then.
Yeah. Now you might as well run the number 1 while he still can.
Yeah, exactly.
Currently on our screens is the number 1 of Max Verstappen. 27 laps on the board so far in the PM session, and he's working on some longer runs here as well, because he is quite well off the pace of his best time, 4.7 seconds off in that middle sector, so he is most likely on some form of a race run here.
Yeah, and still managed to overtake Nico Hulkenberg.
Yeah. Track temperature currently at the moment 28 degrees, a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. Air temperature is 24 degrees, so the track is a little bit warmer than it was at this time yesterday.
All right, I have to step out.
All right, sounds good. Are you joining for tomorrow's stream as well in the PM?
I'll be here tomorrow. It's same time, right?
Yeah, 9 a.m. Your time, and I think Tyler might be joining us as well for that.
Yeah, I'll be here for tomorrow for sure.
All right, sounds good. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, enjoy the rest of the session.
All right, see you.
See ya.
All right, everybody, that was Shaker from the Backmarkers F1 Show podcast, and it will be just me and you guys for the rest of this 57 minutes or so as we get toward the end of day 2 here. Of course, if you are watching live right now at the moment, the live chat is still open. We are checking it periodically. Let me know, what do you think so far of day 2 of F1 testing? Who stands out the most to you? Who are your winners today? Who are your losers? And overall, what are your thoughts on which teams look the best so far in testing? Of course, we will be doing a debrief show following this live stream. I will be ending it maybe 5 or 10 minutes earlier just to get prepped for the wrap-up show, and then that will be uploaded later this evening for you guys, probably about 2.5 hours after the conclusion of the stream. If you want to always keep up to date on new videos on our channel, make sure to hit that bell that's next to the subscribe button on the Backmarkers F1 Show channel, and enable all notifications as well. And that way you'll be always able to see which new videos that we post, which is obviously very, very important for our subscribers. So let's see if we can get this changed here without any issues. Perfect. Seamless transition. We're back into our solo setup here in the middle of the screen which is a little bit better. You guys get to see the Twitter feed as well as the live timing there on your right. If you guys are just joining us, the PM session was relatively quiet and uneventful, teams just going about their business until about 20 minutes ago when the Mercedes of George Russell stopped out on track at the exit of turn 10. A hydraulic failure came up, was a message on his steering wheel. He was stuck in fourth gear, ended up going into anti-stall mode, and that is George Russell's day done, which really is a shame for George Russell because up until that point, he really hadn't completed many laps in this PM session. Only 26 laps done so far today. Good enough for 13th place, but most likely we will not see Russell anymore in this session with 55 minutes remaining. They only just recently wheeled the car back into the pit lane, and they will need to do a diagnostic to see exactly what the issue was, and the fix needs to be done as well. Russell will have an opportunity tomorrow. He is in the car in the AM session, but the reason why this is such a shame for Russell and kind of an unfortunate situation for the young Brit is because these conditions are going to be exactly the conditions 1 week from now when these teams and drivers go for Bahrain Grand Prix qualifying and the race as well. And these are really important sessions, as you see Max Verstappen now and other drivers as well. They're either doing long runs, simulating the race conditions, or they're doing shorter runs, simulating qualifying conditions. Nick de Vries currently out on a push lap at the moment, sitting P2. He's got a personal best in the first sector. And you can see him too, now that we see the steering wheel with such great detail. He's changing buttons all across the board, mid-corner entry, differential changes as well. So you can tell that he's pushing. We just had a big moment on the exit of turn 12. He'll lose some time there. But let's see. Yeah, he definitely did because not a quicker personal best middle sector. So he is currently out on the C4 tire. Keep in mind, as you see in the timing screen there in the middle, you have De Vries, Hulkenberg, and Sargent. Those are the three drivers to have set their best lap times on the soft compound tire, with Logan Sargent using the softest of that tire being the C5. And Max Verstappen currently just boxed for a practice pit stop for his team, and it looks like he's going to be wheeled back into the garage, and they might be strapping on a set of the softer compound tire as we get under 1 hour remaining here. So let's see. Yeah, and just receiving confirmation there, guys, from Mercedes that it was a hydraulic failure indeed, and the W14 will not be returning to the track at this session. So George Russell's day is officially done. So let's see if we can find any more interesting things here from the Twitter feed, any of the other action that's going on. I'd be more curious to see if any details on the team's run plans for this session. But actually, we got a tweet here from AlphaTauri. They're providing a lot of great trackside footage that I really enjoy showing to you guys. So let's play a clip here of Nick de Vries earlier. So that was Nick de Vries not that long ago, probably on one of the laps that got him into P2. We'll play this Haas clip in a moment, but I'm just keeping an eye out on Zhou Guan Yu, who is on another push lap on the C3, the medium tire this time, but he is setting personal bests in Sector 1 and 2. He's currently sitting 8th at the moment, so let's see if he's able to improve on that time. The young Chinese driver has been in the car all day today. And he's going to cross the line here in just a moment. Moves up one place, good enough for 7th. That was his 122nd lap of the day. He's certainly up there in terms of lap counts. Still behind the likes of Logan Sargent, for example, who's done 139 laps just on his own, and Fernando Alonso, who's done 118 laps on his own as well. So I'm just going to reload that timing there for you guys because it is just a little bit of a delay there, and then we'll play a little trackside clips and action from the Haas VF23. An update on Haas, if you are a fan of the American team, Nico Hülkenberg currently sitting still in 4th place, and we haven't seen Hulk on the track just yet in the last 15 or 20 minutes or so. But we'll see if he's going to get out there for the last 50 minutes of this session. Max Verstappen's car in the pit lane at the moment, currently undergoing some setup changes. He's splitting the day with Sergio Perez. This is actually Max's final day in the car because Perez will get the full day tomorrow. So this is crucial time here for Verstappen. I mean, he already looks very comfortable in that car, but this is the best conditions that he's going to get before next Saturday and Sunday for the Bahrain Grand Prix. So he's going to want to make the most of it before he is done for this testing session. Almost there with the live timing and loading it. This website's a little bit slower. Sometimes it's ahead of the stream, and then other times it's behind, which is kind of strange. But if I find that I reload it just a couple of times, it is back to normal. So there we go. So Sargent currently out on track. He is on 15-lap-old medium tires there. That's the amount that are used on that set, this particular one. Okay, let's play the Haas clip here. Let's get some of the action from Nico Hülkenberg earlier in this PM session. So that was Nico Hülkenberg just earlier out on track in the Haas VF23. Hülkenberg has got 48 laps on the board. He's only been doing the PM session so far, but he will be, I'm sure, out on the track shortly as we wind down here on day 2. Charles Leclerc just came into the pits once again. Fernando Alonso out on track at the moment. He is on the C3, the medium tire, and looks like he's pushing once again. He's got a personal best in the first sector, currently sitting P3 at the moment. Fernando Alonso continuing the strong form of yesterday's runs. And, there was a lot of interesting tweets that we were reading earlier about what some engineers around the pit lane are thinking where Aston Martin will be this season. And we're going to touch a little bit about that more on our post-debrief show. So stay tuned for that because it's some pretty interesting comments, and it would be pretty crazy if they end up being true. But Fernando Alonso's form pretty good right now. Still 5/10 slower than Max's best time, but goes up into second place with a 1:32.2. That is on the medium tire as well. Fresh set of medium tires for the most part, only 4 laps on this one set in particular, but a good lap there from Alonso. 121 on the board so far today. I think Aston Martin can be pretty happy with where they are at the moment. Other than the hydraulic issue that they had, the electronics issue they had yesterday morning, and a little bit of floor damage earlier on today on Alonso's car that kept him in the garage for a little bit longer than they'd want to. But overall, I think Aston Martin has made quite a significant step forward from 2022, which is great news for them and great news for their fans as well. And you can kind of see here, just this is from Albert Fabrega, who's currently in the pit lane, providing great pictures and analysis right from the track. Just a front suspension comparison. Red Bull stay on pull rod, all but Mercedes with the highest point on the chassis on the top wishbone and the curved wishbone on the Aston Martin. So you can see a little bit of a comparison there with the different suspensions of those 4 teams. So some pretty interesting stuff there, but great to see these close-up pictures. So Charles Leclerc is back out on track now as well, guys, sitting in P8 currently. He's on a race run by the looks of it. He's on the C2, the white sidewall tire, and very slow in that first sector, so he's definitely got more fuel load in there and looking for more of a longer, consistent run than he is looking for performance. "45 minutes remaining, and really up to the teams, and actually really also up to which drivers are in the car at the moment in terms of what programs they want to do. And so for a driver like Leclerc, who is going to obviously be in the car tomorrow, he's still going to get a chance to be able to do some little quali runs as well. But for a driver like Max Verstappen or Logan Sargent or Zhou Guanyu, this is the final running that they will get ahead of next week's Bahrain Grand Prix. So they want to probably split the time in terms of doing longer race runs and also qualifying runs as well. But these conditions are going to be exactly what we expect to see next Saturday and Sunday as well. So it is the best read on what we're going to get. So sitting in the pit lane at the moment, we have De Vries in the Alpha Tauri. Zhou Guanyu just left the garage, and he's going out as well. Looks like De Vries is coming out again, too. They're just lowering the car down to the ground. They've got the tire blankets on. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be coming out as well again. Oscar Piastri also out on track. He's sitting in 9th place. We haven't talked too much about McLaren since the beginning of the stream, but if you guys are just joining us, we had some pretty unfortunate announcements, or I guess admissions, from McLaren's CEO Zach Brown that they just haven't developed the car well enough this season, which has led to some of their issues that we saw yesterday with the brakes. And it looks like they're really going to be behind at the start of this season, and some of the downplaying that they were doing during their launch turned out, I guess, to be true. There's some decent pace in the car. I mean, Lando Norris put in a good lap yesterday, but McLaren definitely don't seem as happy and as satisfied as some of their other rivals, like Alpine, for example, or certainly Aston Martin. Alpine also another team that we didn't talk too much about yesterday, but they seem happy, regardless of the fact that if you look at where they stand currently at the moment, Pierre Gasly sitting in 10th, and Esteban Ocon, his teammate, 12th from this morning's session. It's nothing that will blow your hair away, certainly not something like Fernando Alonso's time, but they are pretty positive in that camp. And Pierre Gasly saying that this is the best that he's felt in any preseason in recent times in terms of car performance. So I don't think Alpine really can't read much into just how quiet they've been so far. But watch out for them once the season gets started. As Zhou Guanyu, currently on a fast lap, he's also on the soft compound tire again. Personal best in the first sector. He's sitting in 7th, so let's see if he's going to be able to go one better in this lap. We've got about, looks like 4 cars out on track at the moment, with coming up on 41 minutes remaining in the second day of testing. And Zhou still on a fast lap here. Green in the second sector as well, as Fernando Alonso has come into the pits. And that's a good solid lap there from Zhou Guanyu. Moves up into P3 with that fast run of laps. A solid little run there for Alfa Romeo. They've been having a pretty quiet testing, but a pretty solid one at that. That's 125 laps on the board for Zhou Guanyu, in addition to obviously what they did yesterday, which was some pretty solid running. It was a good effort for them, and the young Chinese driver has been in the car all day today, so it's been pretty busy running. But now he's getting the chance to feel what this car is like under low fuel and soft tire conditions. Of course, Alfa Romeo bringing a lot of upgrades to the rear of their car this season to fix some of the instability issues that they had in 2022, and it looks like it has seemed to improve that a little bit. The drivers are happier with where the balance of the car is. Bottas in particular was complaining last season that the difference between low speed into the high speed corners was fairly dramatic with the Alfa Romeo C42, and the changes that they've made in this season has seemed to help with that. So let's see where they end up this season. I think they're going to have some pretty strong competition from their rivals like Aston Martin and Alpine in particular, if they can get up to that speed. But Alfa Romeo has been quietly good so far, and Zhou Guanyu sitting currently in third place. Still haven't updated that yet on the timing screen. Let's see if they'll get that there anytime soon. Yeah, there we go. Finally updated there. 132.2 for Zhou. So air temperature at 24 degrees Celsius there in Bahrain. I'll just wait till this tab cycles through. I can tell you guys what the track temperature is. It was 28 degrees about a half an hour ago. A little bit warmer than it was yesterday. It was very hot this morning in Bahrain. 28 degrees still track temperature right now in Bahrain. Very warm in the AM session, but it obviously drops off by about 10 to 12 degrees as we head into nightfall there. And these are going to be some of the best conditions of the day for these drivers, as Nico Hülkenberg for Haas is currently on his outlap. He is on the C3, the medium tire. And we'll see what type of run plan they've got in store for Hülkenberg with about 38 minutes or so left. Nick de Vries for AlphaTauri is also out on the track. And some of the big runners we haven't seen yet in the later stages of this session. Max Verstappen still sitting in the garage, as well as Charles Leclerc, I think. But it looks like Charles Leclerc might actually be out on the track. But we'll keep an eye out on Nico Hülkenberg's current lap at the moment to see what type of run he is on. And yeah, here you can see some of the really beautiful shots of the Formula One cars under the lights in Bahrain. It certainly makes some of these liveries really pop out in detail. And just also keeping an eye out on Hulkenberg's lap times. He is on what looks like to be a more longer and consistent run instead of performance-wise, because he's quite well off the pace in that first sector. So nothing that's going to catch the headlines here from Nico Hülkenberg on this run. He did run the soft tire earlier, which is why he's still sitting there in P5. And interesting data here that Fernando Alonso's current fastest time, a 1:32.2, is almost 6/10 faster than Aston Martin's best time in qualifying for the 2022 Bahrain Grand Prix. And I think that's kind of the evidence there, guys, is obviously we always say we can't read too much into the times at testing, which is certainly true. But the thing that we can is do comparisons between last year, and just if we're focusing on Aston Martin, it is clear that they have made improvements, and I'd say quite significant improvements over their 2022 car, because that is a pretty big gap. I would say 6/10 already, only on day 2 of testing, versus their qualifying time at this year's Bahrain Grand Prix, or excuse me, at last year's Bahrain Grand Prix. is really positive signs there for Aston Martin. And like I said, we covered this earlier, that there is one engineer that was reporting to the German publication Amus, who said that they actually think Aston Martin is at the level of Mercedes at the moment, and maybe even faster, and potentially that they could be challenging Ferrari and Mercedes in the early parts of the season. So that is one of the rumors floating around the pit lane. And of course, take that with a grain of salt, because we're not going to know until we go racing next weekend. But I know that we shouldn't jump up on the hype train just yet for Aston Martin, but things are looking good. And now that we're at day 2, Alonso once again running near the top of the timesheets as well, and being able to run fairly good, consistent times as well, which is great. So if you're an Aston Martin fan, I think that there's quite a bit to be excited for as you head into the first race next week. But I'm curious if Alonso is going to strap on a set of the soft compound tires here and try and go for it. There's 35 minutes left. He's sitting currently second at the moment, 0.5 off of Max Verstappen's best time. And we will be live, guys, for a next 30 minutes or so. I will probably cut away just about 5 or 10 minutes before the end of the session to get ready for the Day 2 debrief show, which will be published later today on the Backmarkers F1 Show channel. You'll probably expect it about 2.5 hours following the conclusion of this session. And if you guys wanted to watch the Day 1 debrief show, that can be found on the homepage of our channel. You just click the videos tab, guys, at the top, and you'll see all of our latest uploads. And of course, in the description below as well, or in the chat, if you guys are interested in helping to support the work. Of course, this is a value for value show and channel as well. So any donations that you guys do give us goes directly into the channel. Of course, it is just me working it everything that you see here today. So your support would mean a lot. So if it's possible, we have those links in the description below. Otherwise, just make sure that you like the videos, you continue to watch, and that you subscribe to the channel as well. That is the best way to support our work, as well as we get to 34 minutes remaining in day 2 of 2023 winter testing. Max Verstappen currently back out onto the track. Logan Sargent is just heading out now as well. Verstappen is on a longer run at the moment. He's well off his best time that he set earlier in the PM session. And Verstappen's hasn't completed the most laps, actually. He's only at 31 laps at the moment. So I don't think that Red Bull had any issues in particular. I think they were just working more on setup. And his teammate Sergio Perez in the morning, as you see, his time is only good for 14th. They were doing a lot of those just kind of setup runs in the morning as well. But Red Bull looking very good, very calm, very confident. And when you watch Verstappen drive the car, it looks very stable and very under control, which is excellent news if you're a Red Bull fan. They should be really the favorites as we start out this season until proven otherwise. I think we got some video here of pit stop practice for Ferrari and Charles Leclerc. That was just about a few minutes ago, because Leclerc is now out on the track. He is doing more of a race run here on that C2, that hard tire. And let's see if we get the data here about... looks like he is on a fresher set there of that C2 tire. All right, coming up on the bottom of the hour here, in terms of the timing there on your screen, coming up on 30 minutes. We are coming up in the top of the hour, though. However, it is currently almost 11 a.m. Eastern Time, almost 5 p.m. here in Europe. And we're getting to that time of the day here where we're almost wrapping up on the live streams for day 2. As Charles Leclerc is crossing the line there, 6 seconds off of the pace, but he is on a higher fuel run and a race run as well. And a lot of the teams looks like they're trying to focus more on race simulations at the moment instead of qualifying runs. But, we do have a lot of time still for teams to strap on some soft tires. They're just showing a replay there of a lot of oversteer from Charles Leclerc on the exit of turn 2, was really fighting the car as he head down the first main straight there. Zhou Guanyu still going around on a set of soft tires. Let's see if this is a brand new set. Not a brand new set for Zhou Guanyu, but only 3 laps run on this tire. So Alfa Romeo might be sending him out again to go do more of a qualifying simulation. He has been in the car all day, completing 126 laps, so it might be just that time to do more qualifying runs than anything else. His teammate Valtteri Bottas will be in the car tomorrow, of course, taking over for Zhou Guanyu. Yeah, they're just showing the graphic there. Yeah, first race is in 8 days, 22 hours, and 59 minutes. But by this time next week, guys, we'll be watching free practice 1 and 2 in Bahrain. So we really won't have to wait that much and speculate all that long in terms of which teams are going to be the best. And yeah, Zhou Guanyu was on a qualifying run here. I'm just seeing the timing popping up on the screens, and he goes quickest. Quickest of the session so far, 131.6 for Zhou Guanyu. Purple in the second and third sectors there, as we see the new team principal, or not the new team principal, the new CEO for the Sauber Group, Andreas Seidel, along with Valtteri Bottas there. So yeah, it looks like Alfa Romeo is doing more performance runs here at the end of the day. Those are really the first true qualifying sims that we've seen by any team or driver. Fastest in the second sector, fastest in the third sector, and that pops him up into P1. Only 4/100ths of a second quicker, however, than Max Verstappen's best time that he set at the beginning of the PM session, which was about 3 hours ago. So very interesting. Stick around, guys, for the next 20 minutes or so, because we could be seeing more drivers trying for quali sims here. Hey, Sven, just seeing you in the chat there. What's up? Welcome to this PM stream. I think you're joining at a good time here as we get to wrap up here day 2, excuse me. As I just wait for my live timing to update as well, so we can see the replication there of Zhou Guanyu up into P1. And yeah, just confirmation there that Zhou was on the C5 tire, so the softest compound available for these drivers. Oh, and it just did it right there. Sorry about that, guys. Let me just reload that for you. Yeah, it was about a good 45 second delay on that one. So Zhou is back into the pits after a good run there. Solid for Alfa Romeo. A really healthy amount of laps today, more than they did yesterday. But they did have some gearbox issues earlier on in the day. It wasn't without issue, but it's still a solid finish for the day for them. Piastri's just come into the pits as well. And we still have Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc out on the track. They're on some more of race simulations. I think a lot of people are probably looking for Fernando Alonso to come out on a set of soft tires right now at the end of the session and see where he can go. But Piastri just came in actually just for a change of tires. I just saw him in the background there. He's going to be going out once again. Yeah, and Sven is asking, what was last year's qualification top time? That's a great question, and I will actually try and find that out for you right now. Let me see if I can find it. I will let you know, Sven. I don't know how long you've been watching, but I can tell you that Fernando Alonso's current time at the moment is 0.6 faster than Aston Martin's qualifying time at the 2022 Bahrain Grand Prix. So Aston Martin already going faster than they did in qualifying. So that's interesting. But let's see what the fastest time was. And how far we are. So Zhou Guanyu, 131.6 for the fastest time now. And let's pull up the 2022 qualifying times. So the fastest time in Q3 last year, so the pole time for the 2022 Bahrain Grand Prix was a 130.558. So we are looking at about 1.1, 1.2 seconds slower at the moment. But also keep in mind that that lap is from Zhou Guanyu at the moment. So it would probably, in the hands of a Red Bull or a Ferrari, would most likely even be faster than that. Or at least close to that time anyway. So 130.5 was the pole time from 2022. And currently sitting at a 131.6 for Zhou Guanyu. All right, let's see what Max Verstappen has got on his newest run here. He's going on a flying lap at the moment, still on a set of the C3, the soft compound tires. 4/100ths of a second slower than what Zhou just managed to do on the C5 tire. I wonder if we will see Verstappen on a set of softs here with 24 minutes to go. This, of course, is his final action of 2023 winter testing because Sergio Perez is in the car all day tomorrow. So the next time we see Max Verstappen after this, it will be at the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix. But I must say Verstappen looking very comfortable in the RB19, looking really smooth actually in all parts of the track. Haven't seen too many lockups from him. Haven't seen him fighting the rear like other drivers have. So he looks really, really comfortable in that car. Of course, the RB19 really just is a slight evolution of last year's championship dominating car. So probably a lot of similarities into the way it drives, but new tires as well this year, right? Remember those new Pirelli tires that really aim to reduce the understeer, especially at the front axle, which is something Verstappen struggled with at the start of 2022. Really having to work the front end. We know that he likes a car that turns in quite aggressively and he can handle all of that at the rear. That's his driving style and what he prefers. But the tires just couldn't give him that last year as much as he would have hoped. Okay, so now Verstappen is starting a flying lap here. No problem there, Sven. Good question, though, actually, because, and more important for tomorrow, when you guys are with us tomorrow for the PM stream, we'll try and do more comparisons for each team in terms of their best lap times in Q3, because I anticipate we'll see quite a few drivers running the soft tire tomorrow during the same time here. And Verstappen still on a more consistent long run here, 1.9 seconds slower in his first sector. And yeah, if you guys are just joining us and missed the action, about an hour ago, George Russell brought out the red flag in his Mercedes as it grounded to a halt at the exit of turn 10. There was a hydraulic failure that popped up as a message on his steering wheel, and eventually he got stuck in fourth gear. Car went into anti-stall mode as well, and the team just told him to stop the car, and his day was done. So a failure there for Mercedes. The car is back in the pit lane at the moment. They are working on the issues, but luckily for Russell, he will be able to get in the car tomorrow in the AM session, but he will not get any more runs during these ideal track conditions times in the evening. So unfortunate for Mercedes. He didn't complete many laps even before that failure as well. They were spending quite a bit of time in the garage trying to work on the car in terms of setups. So Russell only able to complete 26 laps today in this session as well. So that kind of hurts Mercedes. They were having a solid testing up until this point, as they usually do, but now they had this failure, which is quite uncommon for Mercedes. They are usually bulletproof even at this point of the season. So no more W14 for today's testing runs. And we see just on the pictures here from F1 Live showing the the Alpine garage. Pierre Gasly currently sitting in the garage, not out on track at the moment. 52 laps for Gasly, 10th place at the moment with his time. Alpine, one of the really quiet teams so far in winter testing, hasn't been anything overly positive or overly negative, just kind of going about their business. They seem pretty happy with where they are at the moment and quite confident as well. Gasly had a lot of positive things to say after the first day of testing, but we just haven't seen much from them at this point, and we'll see with 20 minutes to go whether we're going to get any more of the qualifying sims from Alpine, just to kind of see what sort of pace they have in the car. But another team that's been really solid again in day 2, continuing on their form from the first day, is the car that we see on screen at the moment, which is Logan Sargent in the Williams. The young American got the full day to himself today. He's got 153 laps on the board, and really no issues that I could report of that I saw or that I heard of. It's been pretty smooth running for Williams, and there's still some areas of the car that they're not happy with. I was listening to Alex Albon earlier on F1 Live, just speaking about some things that they don't necessarily are happy with still at the moment. But overall, I think that the FW45 is a step forward. It doesn't seem like the car is as wind sensitive as it has been in previous years, which has been a huge problem for Williams. But another huge problem that's been for this team has been reliability, and the fact that they've been able to get well north of 250 laps in these first 2 days on the board is excellent news. They're probably, as calculations come down after the completion of this session, they're going to have probably in the top 3 of laps completed, which we haven't seen that in a very long time from Williams. So that's obviously a positive for the team. So and it's good for Sargent as well. He's probably going to finish the second day in a row in the top 10. He set his fastest time on the C5 tire, which was a few hours ago, much earlier in the day. But we were just talking about Pierre Gasly and Alpine. He is actually out on the track at the moment. Looks like he's running one of the hard compound tires. So I don't think he's actually running the prototype tire, which is technically classified as another C3, and is one of the Pirelli prototypes that they're able to run during testing. So with 18 minutes to go, we are almost done in this session. We will, before we sign off, we will just do a final rundown of all the times and everything. I guess we're still waiting to see if any teams will strap on a set of softs just at the end of the session to light up the timing sheet. But Gasly is coming back into the pits. Let's see if he goes for a practice start or a change of tires here. Okay, he's going for a change of tires. I wonder if Alpine will release him. Yes, they will. Okay, so he just came out and put on a set of the medium tires this time, the yellow sidewall, so he's back out on track for Alpine. And as I said before, guys, if you weren't with us earlier, join us in tomorrow's live streams. We will be doing 2 sessions of streaming tomorrow. So for our Eastern European viewers, or for our European viewers and guys that are out in the East, you will be able to join us for the morning session in the AM. That will get started at 10 a.m. Central European time. And then we will also be back for the final session in the PM, which will start at 3 p.m. Central European time. And that is 9 a.m. Eastern. 9 a.m. Eastern for anybody watching out in the Americas. So no matter where you are in the world, you'll have an opportunity to catch one of our live streams. So tomorrow should be fun. We should have Tyler and Shaker from the Backmarkers F1 Show podcast coming on, and also F1 data analysis from Twitter. I just still have to confirm if he's available for tomorrow, but he might be able to join as well. And we're just looking at some pictures here of Logan Sargent has stopped in the pit lane and is getting out of his car, but I can't see if he's in front of his pit stall or not. Yeah, he's in front of his pit stall. I'm not sure if there's a problem with the Williams or if that's just him done for the day. He's currently jumped out of the car, and that is it for him. He stopped in front of the Williams in his pit stall, so I can't imagine that it's a problem. I think that's just it for his day. He's had quite a very busy day, the young American, in his first season of Formula One, first test in Formula One as well. And he's got, just looking at what Williams is doing with the car, they've placed some sort of device on the cockpit there. Interesting, I don't know, maybe just doing some measurements and some tests. But Sargent has done a total of 154 laps today, good enough for 7th place. And looks like we got a yellow flag out on track as Fernando Alonso is out on track at the moment with some more Flovis paint on the car. We saw Aston Martin do this once again, or do this yesterday as well. So we've got more Flovis on that Aston Martin. And I wonder, we're showing Sector 2 for the yellow flag, as Alonso is on a flying lap, but he will have to back off again. And I think this is probably one of those FIA scheduled ones again, because they have brought out the virtual safety car now. So this is probably one of the scheduled safety car periods, and sometimes they do red flag periods as well, just for the FIA to test all of their safety protocols. So let's take that time then to go through the run through of where we are at, because we most likely won't get much changes after this with 14 minutes remaining. Sitting atop the leaderboard currently is Alfa Romeo's Zhou Guanyu. He has 133 laps completed. Right behind him, not too far off, a few 100ths of a second, is Max Verstappen. Only 44 laps completed so far today. Fernando Alonso, 3rd place in the Aston Martin, 130 laps done for day 2. Nick De Vries of AlphaTauri is sitting at 70 laps completed on the day in 4th place. And just interrupting there, we have an Alfa Romeo of Zhou Guanyu sitting at the end of the pit lane. And there is a little bit of smoke coming out from the exhaust, which otherwise would seem kind of normal, but he's just stopped there. He's not moving at the moment. So maybe that is the reason for the virtual safety car. I'm not sure. And they still have their, at the Williams there. This is interesting. I'll just interrupt the leaderboard rundown there just to see what they're doing at Williams, because they're kneeling beside the car with some sort of device hooked up to it. Looks like maybe they're doing some sort of measurements, electrical-wise. I'm not exactly sure. But they're just kind of, the mechanics huddled around a laptop there beside the car, not really touching it, not doing anything. Just, I guess, getting some measurements and some readings off of it. But yeah, it looks like there was some issue with the Alfa Romeo, because the mechanics have now run to the start of the pit lane at the pit lane exit and are trying to recover that car. But yeah, so it looks like that is the reason why we had the red flag at the moment. And I guess continuing on with the leaderboard, we can look at this graphic on the left-hand side of your screen there. The reigning world champions Red Bull are leading the way for the most laps completed throughout testing so far. But that was, of course, ignore that because that's 4 hours ago. I hate when Twitter does that. I just want to see the latest updates here. So let's move to this tab, see if it's any better. But I'm curious what they're doing with Williams. They've now put the car up into the jacks, and they were getting some sort of readings off of the car. But I just wonder why they were doing it there in the pit stall. And we have a red flag. We have a red flag. So I think, guys, that will about most likely do it for this session. I would be surprised if we get any more significant or serious runs in the next 11 minutes or so. So I'm just going to stick with you guys for the next few minutes and then sign off for today, because I will have to go and do the debrief show. If you're still missed out on the day one debrief show, you can find that on the homepage of the channel. But, excuse me, the day two debrief show will follow. Let's just maybe have a quick listen here. What was the issue with the Alfa Romeo?
For a launch with the burnouts.
He was about to do a start. Race start mode on the steering wheel. He selected first gear.
Oh, that didn't sound good, did it?
very good.
Does he try again?
So it might have been something with the transmission because he selected first gear and got some sort of a strange noise to it as the gear engaged. Yeah, might be something to do with the gearbox or hydraulics. So that's kind of a little bit disappointing though for Alfa Romeo, just because of the fact that they had up until then a solid day of running with 133 laps for Zhou Guanyu. But they had an issue earlier actually with the gearbox, so I wonder if that had to do something with it. But it looks like on the Williams side of things, it was something to do with electrical, because they've got the car now kind of cordoned off there, and the mechanics are wearing those electric-proof gloves around them. So maybe Williams had some sort of electrical issue as well, which is why they were exercising some caution there. So the red flag was for a systems test. Had nothing to do with any of the on-track action. Yeah, so this is what I was just talking about, guys, there. If you don't have a stream going up on your end there. So there was just the Williams in the pit lane, and then you had the Alfa Romeo at the end of the pit lane there. But less than 10 minutes to go in the session. We got a Haas in the middle of the pit lane now, with the mechanics coming around with the fans and everything. I think the pit lane is open though. However, it is a green flag, no red flag, or no red flag anymore, no yellow flag. So I think teams are able to get going. But yeah, green light in the pit lane, so the mechanics will get out of the way, and we'll see some final running here with these cars. But that should about pretty much do it in terms of any movement in the leaderboard, guys. So we're going to slowly sign off here for today in this particular stream. We have obviously a lot more things coming tomorrow, 2 streams in the AM and the PM as well, and we'll be discussing a lot of happenings from F1 testing. But let's just maybe stick around here for a minute or two. I'm curious to see what tires they're going to send Verstappen out on. So he's going out on a set of medium tires for one last shot. Still 8 minutes left, so they can get maybe 2 or 3 laps in of running. As we see Lando Norris there on the pit wall. He was in the car this morning. He will be back tomorrow in the AM session. And yeah, he's got some Flow-Vis paint too. We saw that on the AlphaTauri going out as well. So I don't expect to see any of the performance runs here happening in the last 7 minutes or so, but I think that's what we'll see during day 3, which should be really interesting. So be sure to join us for the PM session there, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here and get set for the debrief show that should be coming to you guys in the next couple of hours. We're going to be recapping the action from day 2, both in the AM and PM session, and breaking down all the important things that you need to know of what happened for this really interesting day of testing as we wrap up and get set for the 2023 Formula 1 season. So I'd like to thank everybody that was joining us for the stream today. We appreciate your viewership. I hope you enjoyed today's stream as well. They are going to be doing a standing start procedure at the end of this session as well, so it'll be interesting for you guys to see. But I am off now to prepare for the debrief show. So until next time, guys, I've been Chris Cato, your host for this live stream. Thank you very much for watching and tuning in. I hope you have a good rest of your day wherever you're watching from around the world, and I hope to see you starting tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central European Time, 4 a.m. Eastern for Session 1 stream, and then afterwards we have the PM stream coming, 3 p.m. Central European Time, 9 a.m. Eastern. I hope to see you all there. Until then, it's bye for now. Thank you.